This is Land of Havilah, Ecclesiastes 8. This chapter is an uninterrupted train of thought. It's a master work. Here Solomon grapples with the biggest questions of life with an honest, unblinking eye and applies compelling logic. We as committed Christians can heartily agree with most of it, if not all of it, and will be strengthened in our faith. Since the chapter flows so well, we'll read it uninterrupted. Then your narrator will put it in his own words, verse by verse, from start to finish. Verse 1. Who is like the wise man, and who knows the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the hardness of his face is changed. I say, keep the king's command because of the oath to God. Don't be hasty to go out of his presence. Don't persist in an evil thing, for he does whatever pleases him, for the king's word is supreme. Who can say to him, what are you doing? Whoever keeps the commandment shall not come to harm, and his wise heart will know the time and procedure. For there's a time and procedure for every purpose, although the misery of man is heavy on him. For he doesn't know that which will be, for who can tell him how it will be? There is no man who has power over the Spirit to contain the Spirit, neither does he have power over the day of death. There's no discharge in war, neither shall wickedness deliver those who practice it. All this I've seen and applied my mind to every work that's done under the sun. There's a time in which one man has power over another to his hurt. So I saw the wicked buried. Indeed, they came also from holiness. They went and were forgotten in the city where they did this. This also is vanity, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner commits crimes 100 times and lives long, yet surely I know that it'll be better with those who fear God, who are reverent before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he lengthen his days like a shadow, because he doesn't fear God. There's a vanity which is done on the earth, that there are righteous men to whom it happens according to the work of the wicked. Again, there are wicked men to whom it happens according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. Then I commended mirth, because a man has no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be joyful, for that will accompany him in his labor all the days of his life which God has given him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom and to see the business that's done on the earth, for also there's that neither day nor night sees sleep with his eyes, then I saw all the work of God, that man can't find out the work that's done under the sun, because however much a man labors to seek it out, yet he won't find it. Yes, even though a wise man thinks he can comprehend it, he won't be able to find it. Comment, that's the end of the chapter. Now here's your narrator's verse-by-verse interpretation of it. When a man lacks understanding, it reflects on his face. He looks puzzled and concerned. It's a hard look, but as he gets understanding, his face becomes relaxed and confident. So if you want to be relaxed and confident and leave all your concerns behind, resolve in your heart that you'll keep the king's command in every situation, come what may. That's all there is to it. You swore an oath before God to obey the king and to obey God the king, so obviously that's what you should do. There's no need for confusion and concern. This all applies to obeying your earthly king and God the king. Don't be hasty to forsake the king when the temptation to do so comes along. Don't persist in evil, because God and the king do whatever they please. The king's word is supreme. Who can say to him, what are you doing? So don't argue with him or question his wisdom. Don't even think about it. Why should your face go back to being hard and puzzled? His judgments aren't your concern. Just relax and obey. It's not rocket science on your part. He's the master. You're the trusting servant. Whoever keeps his commandment will not come to harm. God's wise heart, or the king's wise heart, will know the timing and procedure of everything, the what, when, and where. So just relax and do everything in its time, even if it involves hardship and misery, because you already swore to obey. You don't know what's coming, much less when it might come. Neither does your fellow man. And no man has power over the wind to restrain it. In the same way, no man has power over the spirit of a man to restrain it when it's time for it to fly upward. Man has no power to preserve his life. If God the King sends you to war, there will be no discharge from it. Who ever heard of discharge from service in time of war? Just make up your mind to fight, if those are your orders, and die, if need be. You won't be delivered by any evil decision to go AWOL. That would only be trouble. I, Solomon, have analyzed everything there is to analyze, and I can tell you this. At times, one man, such as a king, and this applies to God as well, the king has power to harm a man or send him into harm's way. I've seen the burial of the wicked and the righteous. They went to war, died, and were forgotten. There's an emptiness to that. For the reason that the wicked get away with their wickedness for so long, for the reason we don't see swift justice against them, therefore the hearts of men are fully set on evil. They don't think there are any consequences. But know this, though a man commit 1,000 acts of evil and live long, never answering for it, still I know that it will be better for those who fear God, who are reverent toward him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he keep living forever in his hubris toward God. I'll tell you something else empty and unfitting. There are righteous men who suffer hardship and calamity as if they were evil, as if they had it coming to them. They didn't do anything to deserve that kind of treatment. At the same time, there are wicked men who prosper and are at ease as if they were righteous. It's not fitting. So in my cynicism, I said, what does it matter whether I'm righteous or wicked? The only thing left in life is to eat, drink, and try to be merry. That's the only thing that halfway makes sense if you're a cynic. Just enjoy yourself by whatever means you can find. That's empty too, but why should a person deny himself since there's nothing better out there? When I analyzed everything at great length, keeping in mind that God never sleeps, that he's always aware of everything, and when I considered the vast scope of his work, which is far beyond man's comprehension, because however a man might labor to appreciate the scope of God's work, he never will. Yes, even though he thinks he's intelligent enough to match up with God, he'll never come close. That's the end of your narrator's interpretation of the chapter. The summary of it is relax and obey God. His word is supreme. Who can question it? Keep his commandments and you'll suffer no harm. He knows the time, place, and procedure for everything, so do as he says, even if there are hardships in it, even if there's death in it. He will not discharge you from service when times are hard, so just keep your resolve to serve. Going AWOL is not an option. You'll pay a heavy price for that. Now, I know that it doesn't seem to make sense at times. We look at the world and we see it's not unusual for the righteous to suffer and the wicked to get off scot-free, as if God weren't there or as if he weren't paying attention. You could get cynical about it and take an eat, drink, and be merry attitude, just the easy way out of every situation, whatever seems easiest to you. But when I analyzed everything at great length, I concluded God knows a lot more than men, infinitely more, so I don't try to match my wits against him. I just stick with him, serve him, and don't worry about the seeming injustices. Just do the right thing, even when it costs me. Don't flinch in time of battle, and don't flinch in my faith in God, and I know it'll come out better that way. Now, as your narrator, I might have infused that with a tad bit more faith than what Solomon expressed, but I thought it was appropriate. There's no such thing as too much faith. Solomon supplies the problems, and when he doesn't supply the answers, we can supply them in knowledge of the rest of the Scriptures. Ecclesiastes 9 is next.